Hi, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast today, and thanks for tuning in to Mondays with Mad. And today our topic is education. And as you know, I am an educator, so this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. You may see me look over here to this side every now and again, and that's because this is where the questions that people have sent in are located. So that's just a logistical thing. So before we get started, I want to talk about a little bit about Saturday. This past Saturday, we had the 2018 Democratic pre-primary convention. And thanks to all of you, we are on the ballot. We got 35%, which is 14% above what was needed to get on the ballot. So we deserve to be on that ballot. You and I, you guys and I deserve to be on that ballot. And I want to thank all the volunteers and our staff. We handed out a ton of t-shirts and dog tags and posters and pencils and just a lot of swag. So it was a lot of fun. And of course, the Madeleines, the cookies that I take around with me almost everywhere. There was a lot of support from people across the district and from points north. And it was exciting, and people seemed to be enjoying themselves. Second to that, we did have a surprise moment, and I'm very proud to have been nominated on stage by Angel Peña. As you know, a few weeks ago, he was disqualified from the process by just a technicality, and we stand behind him on that. And when it became apparent that he wasn't going to be able to overcome those things quickly enough, he decided to join with us. So like Angel Peña's campaign, ours is people first. People, family, community. So together, Angel and I are going to move forward, both of our platforms forward, together as one, and we will work together to make a better tomorrow for all of New Mexico. Angel and I are both parents, as many of you are. And so education is at the top of our lists and of so many people's lists. And that's why we're tackling this question first. So let me take a look at some of these questions over here that we got. And I thank you for all of your questions, and keep them coming. We'll continue answering questions that you guys are asking. And let's look at this. The most asked question. This is the most asked question. And it was about guns in schools. And we're going to be discussing the topic of guns more on Monday, March 26th. That will be our topic. But I wanted to just take just a little moment just to say, and just to make sure that you guys know that I do not believe in guns in school. I think that the possibility of accidents taking place is just overwhelming, and I do not support that idea. So again, we'll talk more about that in a couple of weeks. So the second most asked question dealt with preschool aged children. And so I'm going to refer to this one that was from Diana in Las Cruces. And she said, my child is 4 now, and I couldn't get her into pre-K. What do you want to do to help parents with small children? So we need to get more federal dollars into early childhood education. Preschools, and in preschools, we need preschools with well-trained, college-educated, certified, well-paid teachers to take care of our children. This is just, our children are fundamental. I mean, this is what leads to our tomorrow. So we have to make sure that we reach those children at a very young age and make sure that foundation is strong. I want to see universal pre-K at the age of 3. And I'm telling you, the reason I'm telling you this, when I was a child, we didn't have computers, we didn't have these things, so we played outside. And but children today are playing on computers, and they are more, many little small children are more computer literate than their parents. And so these children are ready for school at age 3, just like Diana's. So what I think is that we need to see the teachers at this universal pre-K need to be incorporated into the school districts with funding, with federal funding and state funding. The classes, these students need to be, the teachers need to be paid at the same rate that K through 12 teachers are paid. And of course, we need to see a raise in that income as well. We need to see a much stronger program for our younger children. And I would like you to look at HR 3773, which is a House resolution. You need to look at it. It's Child Care for Working Families Act. It's in the House of Representatives. So you need to go look at that. And because I support that very much, very strongly. And if it hasn't passed before I get there, I am going to support that piece of legislation. Another question that we got a number of people asking was about pay for teachers. And again, this is another topic that we'll talk about a little bit more in a few weeks, but I do want to say that it is very clear that our teachers are not paid according to their worth, what they're worth in our society. And so we need to make sure that our teachers are paid much better than they are, and that our teachers are afforded the respect that they need to have. That this is a position that we need to attract new and young staff. We need to attract these people, and we can't attract them to our schools if we're not going to pay them well, and if we're not going to treat them as almost as though they're an equivalent with a medical doctor, because these are the people that are teaching and raising our children, and we need to give that respect. So again, we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks when we're talking about unions and other situations. Like AFT is very important, our unions. So let's move on to our next question, and this one is actually from a young mother in Albuquerque, and somebody that's representing CD2 also is representing everybody else. So I think that it's important to everybody in New Mexico, everybody in the United States. And so I think it's important to answer this young mother's question. So here is her question. She said, "I'm so afraid my little boy might not get lunch when I don't have enough money to pay into school lunch account. We get reduced lunch, but sometimes I don't have enough money, so I send him with a lunch. What will you do about school lunch shaming? Because I've seen on the news about kids who get their food thrown in the trash." So here's a mother who's afraid of school lunch shaming. I do want to reassure her, and she'll probably watch this later, and that, because I don't see her on yet, that New Mexico, thanks to Senator Michael Padilla, does not allow school lunch shaming. So your child should be all right. But it is something that we do read in the news all the time, and I want to end school lunch shaming across the board, across this country. It is not a fair thing. When we look at our state, New Mexico, according to a recent USDA report, 67.6% of children were on reduced or free lunches. So this is something that our children and their families are worried about. And the thought of them being shamed in public in front of all the other students, that's something that could lead to bullying. And it is something that led to bullying when I was a child that I actually witnessed. And so school lunch shaming does need to end across this country. And we also need to see that our school lunches are healthy. And I know that's one of those things that we're all concerned about, that we've also seen in the news as being under attack by Trump's Washington, D.C. agenda. And we need to make sure that our school lunches have guidelines that are realistic, and that it's harder to change those, to regress them away from a good solid foundation, just because the president changes. So we need to figure out how to do that. let's move on to the next question. This is a two-part question, and I thank Maria from Roswell for this question. And here's her question. She says, I'm a high school student, and I'm thinking about college. I have a 2-year-old daughter, so I want to learn how to do a job I can get into quickly. What about vocational education and maybe free college? So thank you, Maria. That's a really good question, because there are so many people that are in your exact same situation. And what a lot of people want to do, not everybody wants to go to college and get a 4-year degree. A lot of people want vocational education, and that has disappeared largely from our high schools and colleges. And I would like to see those brought back in, and a very strong vocational program, education program. And I think that this would benefit not just these young students, but also our economy. Because if you look at, just take a walk down through Grants or Lordsburg or just my own town here in Socorro, and you can see the main streets that are dying, the empty buildings. And so I think that we could do two things with this. We have students that are taking these vocational education, and these kids, these young people, are whether they're in college or in high school, they're taking a vocational education coursework. And if we connect this with, say, unions where we have masters of a trade and maybe take them in for internships, then these students are prepared when they get out of school to go directly into those jobs. But if we in the second side, attach these to the Small Business Administration, where they are also giving seminars and teaching with these young students, so that they are prepared to actually start their own businesses when they graduate from their 2-year program in college, then we may be able to get them loans and then or grants, and then they're moving into those empty office spaces or restaurants on Main Street, and that this can be a win-win situation. So now let's look at the last question that I'm going to talk about today is from Michael in Las Cruces. And Michael wants to know about the student loans that are hanging over him, he says, and he's wondering about debt relief. And so my answer to Michael and to all of those of you, many of us have student loans. What I think about student loans, we need to support, and I support, the College for All Act. College for All Act is in the Senate. It's S1373, the College for All Act. And what this will do is lower interest rates from 4.3%, which is where they are currently, down to 2.3%. And I also, in addition to that, would like to extend that so that current loan holders, all of you that may have $30,000, $50,000 still there, should be able to also refinance your loans without penalties and without a credit check. Because you already have that loan, why would you need a credit check? I also, I missed on Maria's question. I see that I missed the free college part. Okay, so again, to go back to Maria, and I guess this kind of answers both of those in a way. I believe that the first 2 years of college should be free. If we can possibly swing that, I would like to make that free. And certainly that would cover all of these vocational education studies. And after we have that, then we can move forward to get the 4 years and then graduate studies as well. I would like to see all of those, but I think that starting with the first 2 years is something that I think might be attainable. Again, I want you to look at those pieces of legislation that I gave you, HR 3773, Child Care for Working Families Act, and S1373, the College for All Act. And our topic for next week is going to be the economy. We also, a little note of kind of a fun thing to talk about, March 24th, we are going to be opening our office in Las Cruces, so yay. And all volunteers are welcome, and volunteers wherever you are. if you're in Roswell, if you're in TRC, if you're in Silver City, wherever you are, and if you want to volunteer to make this campaign the greatest that it can be and just take on our future, come and join us. And you can just text me on Facebook, or send an email to contact@mad4nm.com, and make sure to send your questions to mondays@mad4nm.com. And again, we'll look forward to seeing you next week on Mondays with Mad, and we'll look forward to seeing you at our new office in Las Cruces. And next week I'll give you the address or you may find it on Facebook. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later. Bye.